everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Points of Articulation. I'm your host, Dave, and if you're new to the channel, welcome! Today I'm looking at the Star Wars Armada Recusant-Class Destroyer Expansion Pack, released in 2021. This ship was first seen in Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Now, the Recusant-Class, also called the Commerce Guild Support Destroyer, is another excellent addition to the CIS faction of Armada, and a ship in general. Sure, from its sideways view here, it looks a little chaotic, but trust me, there's a lot of beauty here and it does have a lot going on, as we'll see later in the video. Now, just like most CIS ships, this particular vessel was meant to be automated, fully run by droids. However, it did feature a habitable area for VIPs and troops and whatnot to go, which is right here in the midsection. Other than that, it has that cool bio-exoskeleton look going on here for the armor sections, and as you can probably tell from there, we do have some turbo lasers. So there's a lot going on with this particular piece. As you can see, we don't have a lot of tokens here. Just 3 groupings and our ship token. All these new vessels for the Republic and CIS factions don't really come with dials and tokens. I guess the company expects us to have a stockpile of all of them already, so I guess this video is going to be a little shorter. What do you want me to say? But despite the lack of materials you get with this, I do think as a miniature, it's amazing. We have a lot going on here. For its size, it comes in at about 6 3/4 inches long, or if we convert that to the metric system, about 17 centimeters. So it's a nice sized vessel, very long. It doesn't have the bulk of, say, a Star Destroyer or even the Providence class, but it does have a lot of detailing, as we're going to see in just a few. So if you're new to my channel, what I'd like to do is go over everything with a fine-tooth comb so that way you at home know what you're buying. We're going to take a look at the tokens, cards, rules, and then move on to the ship itself. Go over all the major points, get a nice close-up to see what exactly we're paying for, look at the paint, and then finally, we're going to put it back on a stand, compare it to some other pieces, and then we'll be done. So let's get started. And now it's time for that dial token roll call. First up, we have 1 ship token, which is double-sided, 4 command tokens, 4 raid tokens, and finally, 4 defense tokens. So that does it for all the tokens that come with this particular set. So now let's take a look at the rules. Alright, moving on to the rules to this particular set. On page 1, we have the title, Star Wars Armada, Recusant-Class Destroyer, and then we have a nice write-up as well as all the components that come with this set. On page 2, we have some additional rules, which goes into the large size class and also size restricted upgrade card traits. Now, an important thing to know is, it says right here in the first opening paragraph, the section contains brief descriptions of rules found in this expansion. The full rules can be found in the rules reference document at the Fantasy Flight Games website. There you can find the rules, how to play, and all that stuff, so I really recommend checking it out. The rest of the page has the credits, with everybody who worked on this, as well as copyright crap. So that does it for the pamphlet that comes with this set, so now let's take a look at the cards. For the cards, like in all my videos, I will read the name of the card. If you would like to pause the video and read all the stats below, by all means go right ahead and continue when you're done. First up, we have Martuk, TF1726, Paso Urgente, San Hill, Shumei, 2 flak guns. Now believe it or not, if you're fighting an enemy that has heavy squadrons, these are amazing. The first game of Armada I played, my opponent used these against my fighters and it got the job done. It totally wiped me out. Moving on, we have 2 B-2 rocket troopers, 2 DBY-827 heavy turbo lasers, ship title Gilded Aegis, Nova Defiant, and finally Patriot Fist. So that does it for all the upgrade cards in the set, so now let's take a quick look at the ship cards. Looking at the first ship card, we have the Recusant-Class Light Destroyer, 8 hull, 1 blue anti-squadron, 3 command, 2 squadron, and 3 engineering. Looking at the arcs here, we have mostly 3 shields, for the forward, port, and starboard sides, 2 in the aft. For the firing arcs, we have red and black, so very nice. For the other side of this card, we have our title at the top, possible upgrades on the left hand side, and points on the right hand side, which is 85. Next up, we have the Recusant-Class Support Destroyer. Again, 8 hull, red anti-squadron dice, 3 command, 3 squadron, and 3 engineering. Moving down for our shields, we have 3 in the forward and 3 on the starboard and port sides, and 2 in the aft. For our firing arcs, we have blue, red, and black, which is very nice for the forward, and on the sides and aft, it's just blue and red. For the other side of the card, we have our title at the top, possible upgrades on the left, and our points on the right hand bottom side, which is 90. And this concludes all the tokens, rules, and cards that come with this set. So now let's take a look at this beautiful ship. Now finally, taking a look at this beautiful mold, just like in all my other videos, I will go over all the major sections of the item, and then we'll get a nice close-up look to see the fine details. Now this ship definitely has a lot going for it, so hopefully I cover everything. So let's get started. In the forward section, we have our bridge, which is this piece hanging off. Looking good. Then we have our spine, which is filled with different types of antenna for sensors and comms, as well as light laser cannons, which are these tiny little yellow bumps here, which is awesome. Nice addition there. You can see that these 2 spine sections are on top of armored plating, which looks really cool. Sort of like a biomechanical design here with these ribs. Very nice. And we'll have a close-up look in just a few. Right here we have heavy turbo lasers. Turbo lasers right here, giant barrels. There should be 3 of them. There we go. We have some armor section. And I don't know if it's just me, but if you didn't tell me this is from Star Wars and this was painted differently, this whole front section looks just like something out of Halo. You know, with these large barrels coming off. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. But moving on, right here we have our habitat section for aliens or humans that need to, you know, to breathe. Coming back, this section right here should be a, basically like a landing port, a docking bay for supplies and different things and armaments. However, it's not really molded because we have a big peg port for the stand. Moving underneath, we have some nice molding, as well as molded turrets. These are point defense turrets, so nice job there. Moving back, we have our engine section, which is comprised of 3 engines, which look very different than other Star Wars vessels that we've seen, but cool nonetheless. And then right here in the aft, we have 2 barrels, probably for a giant laser cannon. I'm not too certain about that, but it does look very fascinating. All in all, that's all the major sections that I could find about this ship. So now let's get a closer look. Now, having a closer look with this particular ship, there is a lot going on, as you can see. We have some negative space, a lot of barrels and everything popping out. There is really a lot going on here, and it's a little overwhelming compared to other vessels. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the top first, then the sides, and then we'll do the aft. So looking at the armor for the top, this is beautiful. You can see how it's all curved, and we have panel lines as well. Very nice. I think that came out great. Looking dope. Coming to the midsection. Again, you can see some recesses. Very nice stuff. All that beautiful molding and paneling. Looking great. And I love these sections right here that hang off with the deep cuts. That looks good and sort of mirrors this section down here. We'll get to that. Looking at the strips here, if I turn it like this, this is where our bridge would be. Looking good. You can see a little barrel right there, which sort of protrudes out. Very nice. We can see some beautiful molding, and look at all the antennas on here. And the little laser cannons. Very nice. I love this very much. I think that came out great. For this section, we have a large barrel right in the front. More antennae and different modules. And some nice molding with windows. Very cool. Looking at the other side. It's basically the same. Very nicely done. Looking fantastic. Now in the aft section right here, we have more antenna and this nice little bit of molding, which looks great. Again, you can see some negative space there. And underneath, believe it or not, it's all detailed. Look at all that. That looks amazing. And I love this area back here. Very nice. Really cool. Nothing here is untouched by molding or some sort of detail, which is very impressive. Looking at the other side for the underneath. Again, beautifully done. You can see some nice line work in there, modules. This little skeletal formation, which is very cool in my opinion. Nice angles as well. Great stuff. And we didn't even get to the side yet. That's just underneath this armor plating. Amazing. Very nice. For the top section right here, you can see some beautiful molding as well. Nice modules. Close line work. Beautiful molding coming to the engine section, which this is very impressive. As I mentioned before, these engines are very unique. I think they look so different than what we're used to, but it works. And you can see they're beautifully done, nicely molded. You can see our engine exhaust or thrusters popping out the sides there. Really cool, nice line work. And I love the armor plating right here. And the pylons. Looking dope. Again, very nice. This is the underneath. Looking good. Excellent. Now for the front of the engines, you can see in there we have some nice grading. Very cool. That's the same for all three. And then in the aft section, we don't really have a thruster similar to other ships. However, we can see the sides, like on the left and right here, where the engine would sort of shoot out, and that's what the yellow is. The thruster, I should say. So that's awesome. Very unique and very cool. Coming down, again, we have some nice molding, some armor, and then these two long barrels, which looks very cool. Now moving on, let's look at the side of the ship. You can see some beautiful molding as well. Look at this. Very nice. And here we're getting to the busy part. Look at all that beautiful molding here. Painted windows. Sure, it's a little sloppy, but from a distance, those windows look amazing. Just look at all the detail in here. Very impressive. You see all the little doodads, little armor sections. Even underneath the armor, it looks amazing. Just nicely done. I love this quite a bit. Look at all that molding here. A nice armor strip. Fantastic. And then coming up, we have our heavy turbo lasers, which look amazing. Look at the detailing on them. Different little barrels here. Great stuff. Now underneath, we have beautiful line work and more of that skeletal sort of model in there, which looks really cool. It came out great. Sort of touching on the bottom of the ship here, but I think we need to. It's got a lot going for it. So very nice. And on the sides here, we have this beautiful armor plating, which has gray and light gray mixed together, which looks really cool. And I don't know, it just looks like a Halo ship from right here. Pretty interesting. Now looking at the other side, again, very nicely done. Tons of detailing on here. Little nooks and crannies. Just a fantastic job. And coming to the aft. Brilliant. So now let's take a look at the bottom. Okay, we're almost done, everybody. Just hang in there for the bottom. Again, some armor sections. Nicely done. You can see all the beautiful details and molding. Great stuff. Now we have our peg port for the stand. And sadly, right here should be where the docking and landing area is. So I would have been, pretty interested to see that, but you had to put the peg port somewhere, so I guess it is what it is. Underneath here, we have a beautiful section complete with little turrets. These are point defense lasers, so that's pretty cool. Some more armor and windows, little piping here and there. Fantastic. And then we have our main turbo lasers in the front, which at first it looks very blah, but if you look inside and past this armor plating, it looks amazing. Lots of little details in there. You can see 3 barrels, which look pretty good. Nice, right? So unique. Really cool. You can see the front here, how it is detailed. Pretty nice. Came out great. Underneath, we have some nice molding. And then we have our forward turbo lasers as well. Now, these are the heavy ones, which are, jacked up. But to me, they look no different than these ones in thickness. But pretty cool nonetheless. We have some negative space. Beautiful stuff. Real quick, we'll look at the other side, which is almost identical. Pretty nice. You see all the little detailing in here. Different decks. Pretty cool. You can see little barrels on those laser cannons. Looking awesome. Peg port, and then coming back to the aft. And you can see the beautiful detailing all throughout. It's a fantastic job. And that just about does it for the mold. Now, I do apologize for taking up a lot of time to show the close-ups, but it definitely has a lot going for it. And me showing you everything the model has to offer is the name of the game. So now, let's take a look at the paint. And now, looking at that paint on the Star Wars Armada Recusant-Class Destroyer, this guy has about 7 or 8 different colors, and it matches almost exactly with the other CIS vessels. I really like the uniformity with the Republic and the CIS vessels, where the Republic is an off-white and maroon for the most part. The CIS has a more scattered color scheme of different types of grays and blues and whites and blacks, all mixing together with the yellow for the windows. And I like it for that. It's the complete opposite of the Republic. It's a more darker tone, and I dig it. I don't know. I'm biased because I love the paint scheme on here, but I think it's to symbolize the quote-unquote bad guys here. I think it works very well. Now on here, we have our gray, dark gray, and navy blue with a mixture of white for the main color scheme here that we could see on the armor, which looks pretty damn good. Now the light gray has a hint of maybe dark blue or purple mixed with it. It's a little hard to see, but right here above my thumb, you can see it's not really exactly pure gray. There is something mixed with that. Maybe like a battleship gray or something like that. But really interesting. The white is also very nice for the CIS symbol and triangles. I think they did a decent job with that. And as always, when we have a close-up, we can see it's not super perfect, but from a distance, it looks amazing. Now, moving on from the main color scheme, we do have some black, yellow, and I would say light gray for all the armor and midsections here, and it looks amazing. Very nicely done. We can see the light gray here for the armor coming down the main body, and also the dark gray and black for the turbo lasers and innards where the habitat area is, and coming down this pylon towards the engines. Very interesting. Such a unique shape. I really do like this ship quite a bit. Now moving on from there, we do have a little yellow, and as you can see, it's all for the windows here, which looks great. On top, we could see it used for our little laser cannons, which looks amazing. Again, all the little windows here. On the bottom, we have a large window right here, and little yellow painted here and there. For the back, we can see the yellow is painted for the engines on the sides here, which looks pretty cool. Again, very different than other Star Wars ships, and I dig it. And if you look in the front, you can just see little black grates. So all in all, very nice. And our final color here is a nice black wash, which for the most part fills in all these nooks and crannies and really brings the ship to life. It showcases the detailing, and I love it for that. Now, it's a little light with the black wash, especially on the top here, but looking at the different types of armor on the bottom, and especially the engine section, that's where it really shines. You can see all the panel lines and different modules. Great stuff. So that does it for the mold and the paint. Hopefully I covered everything. I know there's a lot going on with this particular vessel, but on the whole, I'm very happy with this piece. I think it's molded exquisitely, and it's painted very nicely. So now let's put this bad boy on a stand compared to some other vessels, and then we'll be done. And just like all Armada vessels, it does come with a clear translucent stand. Now, the first part here is the base. I already assembled the shield tokens, which can rotate. Of course, there we go. So that's pretty cool. So first up, you're going to want to grab your ship token. Place it on like so. As you can see, we have a rectangle here, and then the sides have a little lip. So this is not going anywhere unless you turn it upside down. Next, you're going to want to grab your pylon. Place it in like so. Turn it around, press it up, and that's going to lock it. And this is not going anywhere now, which is awesome. Then, grab your ship. Remember to be a little gentle. Place the pylon in the peg like so. And just like that, everybody, you are good to go. And now for our size comparison section with the Star Wars Armada Recusant-Class destroyer seen in the center. I have some other Star Wars Armada vessels. First, on the right-hand side, we have a fellow CIS vessel, the Providence-Class, also known as the Invisible Hand, and you can see the real size difference between these two. It's night and day, you know. The Providence is thicker, it's longer, and then we have our Recusant-Class, which is basically a skeletal ship. It's very bare minimum, just engines and weapons and a little habitable area, and that's it. And you know what? I kind of like it for that. It's pretty cool. And finally, on the left-hand side, we have the Republic Attack Cruiser. Again, another beautiful ship, and you can see the size difference between all three. Really interesting stuff. If you're interested in seeing reviews of any of the ships I showed today, check the links in the description below. And that does it today for my review of the Star Wars Armada Recusant-Class Destroyer Expansion Pack released in 2021. This set gives you everything you need to add one Recusant-Class destroyer to your CIS faction of Armada. And I think it's a great expansion. You get some cool cards, and also, in my opinion, a fantastically done miniature. For the mold, the Commerce Guild Support Destroyer features a very interesting layout. Of course, we have our engines in the aft and bridge and whatnot in the front. However, it's basically a moving weapon here. It is covered with light laser cannons and heavy turbo lasers throughout. The front and midsection is also protected by large armor sections, which I am a huge fan of. I think that looks very cool. And you can't forget the whole section, it's got like different textures to it. We have a lot of line work, a lot of weird molding. The armor sections, the antennas, the engines look a little different than the front. It looks like multiple pieces of different ships put together. And you know what? I dig it. I think it's awesome. The ship is supposed to be mostly automated anyway, so it doesn't need to look good. It doesn't need to feature a lot of things for human beings or aliens to drive. So, whatever. I get it. It's a great backstory to the ship, and I think it's pretty cool. I think Fantasy Flight Games did a great job bringing this piece to life here. And speaking of bringing it to life, let's discuss the paint. This bad boy has about 7 or 8 different colors working together. It has a great CIS color scheme of navy blue, gray, and dark gray. I really love that. And it does have some nice paintwork throughout. Now, having said that, it is not perfect. We have little smudges with the yellow here and there and whatnot. But on the whole, from a distance, this looks amazing. And I love the little details such as the CIS symbol and the little white triangles on the sides. That looks really impressive. I'm very happy with this piece. And that's basically everything I have to say about this very interesting ship today. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that like button, and if you'd like to see new videos every week, subscribe. Again, as always, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to watch my content. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody!